I'm so excited. I feel like I'm always excited. There's always just something that makes me excited, which is a good thing. But I am going to be taking a solo day trip to York tomorrow. So this is somewhere that honestly I've heard of, but I really don't know much outside of its name. But my colleagues were really recommending it, and it's a relatively easy place to go for a day trip from Manchester. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, and the train will be leaving Manchester at 6:58 a.m. and then it'll be coming back from York at 5:20 p.m. So I'll have a good 8 hours there, so pretty much a whole day. And I'm so excited to explore. So all I know about York really is that it is a really ancient city. So what's really famous is the York City walls, which has been intact since I think the 13th century from when it was built by the Romans. So the entire wall is intact, which it should, if I remember correctly, be the longest like ancient city wall in all of the UK, because a lot of them have either been torn down or parts of it aren't there anymore. So the entire wall is like 2 point something miles, which I don't think I would have time to walk tomorrow, but it would just be really interesting to see. It's also known to be one of the most haunted places in the UK, which I haven't looked at that at all because I'm just not about that. But the other really exciting thing is it's supposed to be really good Harry Potter vibes. So Diagon Alley in Harry Potter is said to be modeled after a lot of the York Shambles, I think is what it's called. Which are little alleys with cobblestones and all of that. So I'm really excited for that. The weather tomorrow is supposed to be not good at York. It's supposed to rain, which typically would just make me not want to go. But in this case, as an extreme Potterhead, I am excited. I feel like I can really romanticize that with the whole Harry Potter vibes. So I'm excited. I'll just bring an umbrella, probably a raincoat as well, and then we'll explore around the town. So I did do some pre-planning, of course, and I have a list of places that I want to see. Naturally, I might not be able to see everything. I'm gonna try and go with the flow tomorrow as well and see, but just off the list, there's the museum gardens that I want to see, so that's probably going to be the first stop since it's right next to the train station. And I do want to walk parts of the York City walls, which might just be spread out throughout the day. And then I want to check out the York Minster Cathedral. So that, I don't think I'll have time to go in, and honestly, I'm more interested in just walking around outside and exploring the city more so than going in. So they do have a lot of really famous museums, but right now I just don't think I'll plan to go in any of that. So yeah. And then I do want to see also the Roman Column, and then of course the Shambles Historic Street, which is the famous Diagon Alley inspiration place. So there should be a lot of really small and cute stores there and boutiques. So I know there is one that is Harry Potter themed. It's called Shop That Must Not Be Named. It's famous. There's also York Ghost Merchants and a few other stores. And then there is a food market that's really famous. And I think in November and December, that's the place that converts into a Christmas market. So York is also famous for their Christmas markets. However, it's not time yet, but I am excited about the food market. So that's probably where I'll plan to stop and grab some lunch. We'll see what's good there. And then there is also Betty's Tea Room, which is like the most famous tea room in York. It's the spot. There's supposed to be really long queues. But again, I don't really think I'll have time to do that, but it would be nice just to sort of walk by it and see what's theirs. And then, yeah, and then more walking, honestly, around the city walls. I do want to find a nice spot to have like a nice pastry or a scone. Just like a nice afternoon tea would be appreciated as well. So that's the plan for tomorrow. It is going to be an early morning, and then in total, I think 3 hours round trip, over 3 hours round trip on the train, which I am also excited for, just because it's been one of those weeks where I feel like my brain hasn't been able to stop running. Like it's just been a busy week at work, and personally as well, where it would be really nice to just be on a train and have some time to just read and zone out for a second. So yeah, that is the game plan for tomorrow. So excited, and I will see you in the morning. Good morning, it's 6:15, very much still dark outside, you can see. And we are going to head out to the train station. The station. Do need to grab a bottle of water since my Yeti is way too heavy to carry for an entire day. I don't know if you can see there, but of course there's a line out in Greg's already. This is my first time taking a train, and I can't get over how nice it is at 7 a.m. It was so quiet. I had 4 seats to myself, I had a charging port and everything. Now the return train was different, it was full of trunks, but the 7 a.m. one was great. Here is York on a rainy Saturday morning. First stop I went to is a cafe at the 700-year-old Barker Tower. So this was still early, so I was able to snag a spot inside. The place is called the Perky Peacock. It is so snug and cozy in here. I ended up having breakfast with 2 girls I met. They were super sweet, and it was just really nice to do that. And look at how cute. They have Harry Potter wands for decorations. Right after breakfast, I headed over to the York Ghost Merchants, which is a really famous ghost figurines shop. So I've heard the queues there are insane. So I got there really early, but this was 10 minutes before the doors opened and the queue wrapped around already. I stayed for 15 minutes and it wasn't moving, so I left. I stopped by Betty's Tea Room. The problem with vacation is just too much good food and not enough stomach, so I just went in to browse, but look at how cute their seasonal Halloween treats were. From here, I went into the museum gardens for a morning walk. Next stop, we have the York Minster. So on the way over there, I popped into a few shops, which is my favorite thing to do in York because there's so many. But here is the York Minster. Right by the Minster is the Roman column, which I stopped to see. And I also popped into their Minster shop. Then I stumbled upon this rubber stamps store. There were hundreds of rubber stamps, and the store was run by this sweet old lady who told me that they make all of their stamps in-house. So of course I had to pick one out, and here it is. Now onto the York City walls. So I entered from the Monk Bar and got to walk a small part of it. Here's the Whipma Walkma Gate, which is the shortest street in all of York. And then next, I was heading over to the Shambles market, but again, on the way there, stopped by a bunch of adorable shops. There's not much I love more than a nice outdoor market, so I was having a time here. It was time for lunch, so I got Miller's Street Food and their fish and chips. That was a huge portion and really good. So now that I was on a full stomach, it's time to head over to the Shambles. All my Harry Potter dreams were coming true here. This is Diagon Alley, and you can't tell me otherwise. I had to go into the shop that must not be named. So there was a queue as well, but it was only like 15 minutes. And once you got in, there was just so much Harry Potter everything. Next up, the Potions Cauldron. So I had no idea what this was, but I saw a bunch of people take photos of it and totally got influenced. So I got their Spellbound, which is butterbeer plus an obscene amount of whipped cream and then butterscotch drizzle. It was the perfect afternoon treat to keep me going. From here, I wandered out of the Shambles and further out into the city. So I stopped by Spark, which is a food court. Didn't get any food here, but it was nice to see some of the options they had. And then I went over to the Castle Museum and Clifford's Tower. So I didn't have time to go in either, but I did climb up the steps at Clifford's Tower and got a nice view of the city. I had a few hours left, so of course I wanted to do more shopping and walking around the city. There were so many stores, I feel like I could have spent an entire week here. But at this point, the sun started to come out, which I was so grateful for because I feel like I got to see both sides of York. The gloomier Harry Potter vibes, but also the hustling, bustling, bright sunshine version of it. Came across this teeny tiny bookstore that had 7 rooms of books. Finally, onto what I've been looking forward to all afternoon, the parlor-made scone house. I was so lucky to have gotten a seat by the window on the top floor. I ordered their traditional, which is a pot of Yorkshire tea, a fruit scone with clotted cream and jam. Next thing I knew, it was time to make my way back to the train station and bid this beautiful city goodbye for now. I definitely recommend you to visit York, especially if it's day trippable for you, but even if it's not, it is definitely worth the trip, especially if you're a Potterhead like I am. Hope you enjoyed this day trip with me, and I will see you in the next video.